Hey guys, Mike here again with Success Media Solutions, and today I'm going to give you a stimulus and PPP update for January 13th, 2021. Alright guys, so this is my first video for Success Media Solutions since the year started. So happy new year to you guys I haven't spoken to. Today what I want to focus on is the fact that there is a lot of confusion out there with regard to the stimulus, with regard to the PPP, with regard to the EIDL. Even when I do a search online myself, I can't find a lot of information. So what I'm going to do is share with you guys what I know, and hopefully it will help you. So I'm going to go fast and furious here, guys. Let's start with the $2,000 stimulus that a lot of people are talking about. The additional $2,000 in stimulus relief that's floating around out there. It looks like it might be likely. As you guys can see from this tweet here from Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, he agrees that $600 that was passed in the stimulus bill that Donald Trump signed a few weeks ago, the $900 billion stimulus bill, $600 is not enough. Now, what they're gonna do in terms of additional funding for a $2,000 stimulus check is still up in the air. What they're floating out there is that maybe they're going to do an additional $1,400 to add to the $600 that a lot of you guys should have already received as of January 13th today when I'm recording this video. But who knows? All right, so stay tuned for that. I do believe there's going to be additional monies coming to folks in the form of stimulus payment. Also, folks are already reporting that they've received the additional $300 in unemployment benefits, the federal extension for the unemployment benefits. That should run into early April. Most states are already paying that out. You can do a quick Google search to see if your state is going to pay it out or when they're planning on paying out those additional $300 in federal unemployment benefits. Now, another amendment to the unemployment part of the stimulus bill that I want to talk about that not a lot of people seem to know about is what's called the mixed earner unemployment benefit. What that does is add an additional $100 to the $300 if you're a gig worker who also has a regular job. So depending on the state you're in, you might want to talk to your unemployment office about that, but there is an additional $100 that is supposed to be added to the federal $300 benefit, depending on which state you're in. I know Florida already opted into that. So if you're a gig worker, maybe you work as an Uber driver or you do hair on the side, whatever it is, you should qualify for that additional $100. So inquire about that, do some searches on that. All this stuff is touch and go, guys. They change these rules constantly. It's always evolving. So keep doing Google searches to see the updated information. Call your local unemployment office or your local employment assistance office to get the most updated information. Now let's talk about the PPP loan, the second round of the PPP loan, right? PPP 2.0, they're calling it. PPP is now available. I want to urge, now I remember when this came out, round one, I urged a lot of people to take advantage of this because it could help your business. It will help your business. It helps you pay your employees. It helps you pay yourself as an employee of your own business, and you should be taking advantage of it. Depending on where you're watching this, I'm going to put a link right here where I discussed some of the qualifications that you need to apply for round one. Now, there is a little bit of a difference for round two. If your loan is less than $150,000, you have to attest to the fact that you dropped at least 25% for the same quarter in 2020 as compared to previous years, right? So for example, if in the third quarter of 2019, you had a certain amount of earnings, in 2020, you would have to show that you at least had a 25% drop in earnings for the same quarter in 2020. All right, so that's one of the main requirements there. There are a couple of other requirements that you have to meet, but for the most part, if you are someone who took part in PPP round one, should be an easy go of it to apply to get a second round of funding for PPP 2.0. A couple of myths I want to clear up that's floating around out there with regard to applying for the second round of PPP. Because I've been told that there are some banks telling folks that you have to apply for your forgiveness of the round one loan before you can apply for round two. That is absolutely not true. You do not have to have forgiveness for your first loan to apply for the second loan. Also, even applying for the forgiveness is not a requirement to apply for round two of the PPP. So that is 100% false, guys. I know a lot of these banks, and this is not an indictment on the banks. I know this is all coming at them fast and furious, but they're not ready. They're not ready. A lot of them still aren't prepared. You'd think they'd be prepared by now, right, after going through all this last year, but a lot of these banks still are not prepared, which leads me to my second point regarding the PPP and applying for the second round. Don't be surprised, don't panic or anything if you call up your bank or you try to go on your bank's website and they don't have a link to apply. A lot of them they're just not ready. They haven't prepared, even though they knew this was coming. They haven't prepared. They don't have links for you to apply. I know there's a paper application out there that you can download in PDF format and maybe print it out. But then once you print it out, what are you going to do with it? There's nowhere to submit it, right? Who are you going to submit it to? No banks that I know of right now. There's maybe a few of them, right? A few of these what we call community banks or community financial institutions that may be able to accept the application, but for the most part, the majority of banks aren't accepting applications. Even though when you go on SBA.gov, it says that the application is open. The application, if I'm not mistaken, has been open since January 11th, right? Also, another provision in the application process for the second round of the PPP is that they're giving community banks first shot at this, right? And rightfully so. I like that they're doing this because so many of the business owners that this program was initially meant for did not receive funding, right? Like a lot of the mom and pop shops, a lot of the gig workers, a lot of the self-employed folks who needed the money to keep them in business did not receive a PPP loan or a grant. So what they're doing is they're putting those folks at the front of the line so they can go ahead and apply through community banks, through credit unions, through the smaller banks, through even some of the fintech banks that you can find online like Cabbage and some of these other smaller banks. They're giving them first shot at getting those folks to the front of the line so they can get funded, right? So keep that in mind when you go to try to apply for a second round, or even if you're a first timer, right? This is not just PPP 2.0 is not just for folks who got a loan last year. You could be a new recipient of a PPP loan, right? You just have to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, you have your tax returns, and you have all your paperwork that's necessary to show how much your payroll is per month, right? And the formula, it's pretty simple. Whatever your monthly payroll is times 2.5, right? So let's say your annual payroll is, I don't know, let's use $60,000. Right? Divide that by 12, right? Which gets you to $5,000 per month times 2.5, which would yield a $12,500 PPP grant or loan. I call it a grant because it is forgivable, so therefore it pretty much becomes free money. So that's your update for January 13th, 2021, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. That's all I have for now. I just wanted to give you guys this quick video with some information out there because whenever I can't find information, I go digging for it and I'm always going to share it with you guys. All right. So thank you. Have a good day.